Abby last with Because We're All Crazy Anyway.
Well, if I'm crazy, then so are you. The words I use tell you what I'm thinking. They allow me to communicate my thoughts and opinions and allow you to respond with thoughts of your own. And while it's incredibly useful to be able to use words to give outsiders insight into the way our minds work, the way we use our words can provide an even clearer picture of our opinions, our fears, and our society. I started this speech by calling us all crazy. That is, I used words to explain my opinion on the topic of our mental health. And whether or not you agree with me, you probably weren't particularly offended by my statement. That's because crazy stopped being a technical term decades ago. In the past century, psychology has made tremendous improvements, which means we've gotten better at breaking down, categorizing, and defining crazy with incredibly specific mental disorders. Because of this, the number of children and adults who are being diagnosed with these disorders has increased dramatically. According to Psychology Today, over 6 million kids have been diagnosed with ADHD, a 300% increase from 20 years ago. In the same period of time, childhood bipolar diagnoses have increased 4,000%. But in a world where half of us will qualify for a mental disorder by the time we reach adulthood, the way we speak shows a distinct lack of respect for these disorders and the people who struggle with them. You're so OCD, quit being so bipolar. 87% of the 76 students I surveyed said that they heard a mental disorder used to describe seemingly abnormal behavior relatively often. When asked how hearing these phrases made students feel, many responded that using these words in this way or hearing others do so didn't really bother them. Let's compare that with another derogatory phrase that has been so rightfully blacklisted. That's so gay. Compared to the 87% of students who heard a psychological slur on a regular basis, only 44% said they heard "that's so gay" somewhat frequently. When asked how hearing those three words made students feel, opinions were decidedly more negative and offended. This may seem like an unfair comparison, but the fact of the matter is that homosexuality up until 1974 was considered a mental disorder. It was in the DSM-2, the official listing of all mental disorders, and could legally be treated. And yet, we've spent hours in anti-bullying seminars being told never to say "that's so gay," when the closest I've ever gotten to discussing a mental disorder was a quick reminder from my 8th grade advisor that, oh yeah, you shouldn't be calling anyone retarded either. These linguistic patterns may seem insignificant, but their societal implications are definitely disturbing. In a survey I conducted, I asked students how they would feel if they discovered a mental disorder that closely resembled their own behavior. Over 60 students responded to a statement along the lines of, as one student put it, both scared and validated. Students said they'd be relieved to find out that this part of them had a name, that there was a reason they were like this, that they weren't alone. And yet dozens of these responses were coupled with expressions of concern. Our peers, our friends, maybe some of you, said that you would feel condensed, diminished, judged. My survey was anonymous, but if anything, that makes these findings even more poignant. We have no idea if the girl who was just called bipolar is the one who said she was terrified of being categorized. We can't tell if the boy who just heard someone recounting the story of their panic attack during a history exam feels belittled because he understands what a real attack feels like. We have no way of knowing if the kid sitting next to us is wearing long sleeves in an attempt to cover up a fresh set of scars. It's important to note that these words themselves are not the problem. Panic attack and bipolar and depression are all incredibly valuable terms to know and be able to use. If someone asks me why I'm pulling out my eyebrow before a big exam, there shouldn't be anything wrong with me explaining that I have trichotillomania, in the same way that there should be nothing wrong with someone saying that they're gay. Both of these are just minute pieces of someone's personality. They do not give you enough information to judge that person as a whole. And while many of us understand this, the shame that so many people associate with mental disorders is ridiculous and cruel. For some people, getting diagnosed can be life-changing. It's a chance for them to realize that they're not stupid or worthless, their minds just work a little differently. Giving someone a word to describe who they are and how they feel is about as liberating as it gets. Tainting that that freedom by using slurs and jokes and humiliation is unacceptable. So the time has come to decide. We need to choose, all of us as individuals and Newton South as a community, whether or not we are going to acknowledge people's right to be who they are without embarrassment and degradation. We need to choose how we are going to use our words. We've already made incredible progress by diminishing the uses of "that's so gay" and "you're retarded." Adding other psychological slurs to the list is just the next logical step. 50% of us will qualify for a mental disorder by the time we reach adulthood, so what does the word crazy even mean? Well, to me, crazy is when a student feels it's okay to use a slur because it doesn't defend them. To me, crazy is when someone is more concerned about being judged than they are about getting the help and support they might desperately need. To me, crazy is feeling the need to hide who you are because you're scared someone else might not like it. There is so much supposedly wrong with each and every one of us, so it's absolutely ridiculous that we have yet to let go of the stigmas of mental disorders and embrace all of our imperfections because the fact of the matter is, we're all